Justice now.
Obstruction
Justice
to
now.
justice. Obstruction to justice. Obstruction to justice. Justice now. Well, hello, and welcome to another broadcast of Obstruction to Justice. I'm Ann Moles, and today we are in for a real treat. We're going to be talking with Nathan Holloway, research analyst for the Ross for US campaign, state of Missouri. Now, you know the voting. This is the primary coming up for the U.S. Senate here in the state of Missouri, and that primary is going to happen in August. So we're getting ready and geared up. So he's also going to be discussing, we're going to chat about student loan debt. Yep, and then we're going to give it an update on how that campaign is going and just whatever else is happening. And you know, one other thing that I enjoy talking about here on Obstruction to Justice, my favorite is business. So I'm sure we'll get in on some of that conversation too. Well, hey, welcome. Welcome, Nathan. How are you? All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead. We're going to remove him again, and then we'll see if we can get him to check out what's going on with his audio. Okay, that way a little background noise will just jump right in. Well, just as I had shared, we're working here to just bring you some updates, and one thing that is super important. And, we're real big on, and we've been really talking about voting here on obstruction to justice. It is, it's a way to make your voice heard and make your voice known so that you can participate in how the government is ran. Yeah, participation in this country, that's one of the advantages of being an American is that you can participate in the election process, the electoral process, and that is the advantage of being American. There are a lot of people that live in different countries and they don't have that opportunity, that advantage of being an American. But the advantage of voting, rather, of course, being an American is, a land of the free, home of the brave. And we're excited about being here uh, in America. Yeah. All right. So Nathan can't see or hear me. So what we'll do, let's just see if we can get him to leave and then come back. All right. I'm not sure what happened on we had a little hiccups when it comes to live stream, but yeah, we'll get Nathan back on. So, being part of the voting process is one of the perks and one of the advantages about being in this great country of the United States of America. Now, in the past elections, and we are very vocal when it comes to encouraging people to vote. So, in the past elections, uh, there have been, people saying, "Oh, well, they were rigged," and all of that. Well, I understand. Uh, but, with that, can you see us? Can you hear us now, Nathan? Oh, no. Oh, still can't. All right. Uh, we're going to just have to we'll bring Nathan back on. We'll see if he can get something going here, and we'll bring him back on at another time. All right. Just let me get him to say, I'll just share with him. We'll try again later or try from another PC. That's usually that helps. All right. So we do, encourage people to vote, and your vote does matter. It does matter. And with that, don't be discouraged with the voting process. Um, I think that people do get discouraged. They think that it doesn't matter, but it does. And if it didn't, then people wouldn't be trying to steal the vote, if it was such a thing. There wouldn't be laws that would be put in place where you uh, had to there and there's a new law that Missouri is working with to where if if you register as a Republican or whatever you register as whatever political party you register as, that's what you have to vote as. Okay. Which one of the advantages that we enjoy here in the state of Missouri is that during the primary, and I don't believe it's going to happen before this primary. I think this rule is still in effect, but we're going to keep an eye out. Uh, the fact that if you register as a Republican, then and during the primary, you can also vote as a Democrat if you think that it's better, if that candidate is a better candidate on the Democrat side, then you can vote as a Democrat or pick up a ballot and say, "Hey, I want to vote as a Democrat in this primary." And that's something that has been a real major concern in some states. Once you register as a particular party, that's how you have to vote. All right, we're going to try to see if we can get Nathan in again here. All right, Nathan, here we go. Nathan, are you there? Okay. All right, can you hear us? We can hear you. Okay. Wowzer. What what is going on with our technology today? Okay, we'll have to try again later. Can you see us? Can you hear us? Okay, not at all. All right. Okay, we'll have to do something else here. Um, mm, yeah, we'll have to see if we can get him on at another time. So we're just gonna go on today. And yes, Risa Singleton, good evening. Good evening to you as well. Thanks for joining the broadcast, Risa. Okay. Now Risa, she's a voter, registered voter. Yeah. And that's kind of where we are with it. Let's get registered. Let's get registered to vote. Let's um let's get ready to vote. Let's prepare to vote. And I think that's kind of the disadvantage of what goes on in the during the electoral process, the election process. People get confused. You're wondering where to vote. You're not sure where to vote. And, that right there is a big hunk of chunk. I remember not that long ago, about a year ago during the electoral process, and it was election day. And I went to my old place, the place where we usually vote. Well, there was no sign there or anything. They hadn't sent out good notification that the voting poll had been moved to another location. So I had to actually call the Board of Elections and find out where we were to vote. So that's the kind of thing that those surprises that, catch up. That's what goes on, So you don't want to get caught in being surprised when it comes to voting. You want to be ready. You want to have your voter ID card together and you're wanting to make sure that you know where your poll is so that you can vote. All right. Um, we're not going to be able to share or talk about the student loan debt right now, but that was something that Nathan was gonna share with us, and we're just gonna get him on. We're gonna test our, again, test we were on it. It was good. It was working. I don't know what happened once we went live. There was another little quirky thing that happened too. So we had to actually start another meeting, another, broadcast there. So, but we're just gonna go ahead and I'll share, this here. Let's share this. All right. Yeah, we were interested in talking about the student loan debt, and we can chat just a little bit, and maybe that'll kind of prepare us for the next time when we do get on and we get a chance to hear that report from research analyst um, Nathan Holloway. So, of course, I don't know. I've talked about student loans in the past and what you should do. I think that one of the disadvantages of not having the funds, right, is that you get loans. If you don't prepare early when it comes to college, then you have to uh, get a loan to go to college, right? And we've heard all of the stories. We've heard some stories, and I have my own stories too when it comes to student loan debt. But I think that it's a good idea to do your best to prepare early if you can. Now, my gist on it is that why save all this money and then go to school, go to college, and you don't do well, right? So I think that that's kind of a concern, and you're having to retake classes because you didn't do well in the class before. Student loan debt is a huge problem because we're encouraged to go to school and to get a higher education. So when you're encouraged to do that, and you're encouraged, how are you encouraged to do that? You're encouraged to do that because your the employers, they're wanting people with 4-year degrees. They're wanting trade. It used to be trade school and or college. So you're wanting people with 4-year degrees, and with that, uh, that's kind of what the job market is requiring. So that's something that you would want to consider, just depending too on what it is that you're wanting to do, the profession. And we're kind of talking to young people, but there are also non-traditional students. Those are people that are over 30, and then the way that the job market has fallen into place, and you may want to transition, do a different job, right? So maybe that does take a little bit more education. So maybe you don't have a degree, but then you'll get one because what you're looking to focus on doing requires a degree, right? Yeah. So Risa says that her youngest has a student loan, and that she was told because has a disability, Biden was going to take care of it, but that hasn't happened. Now, and that's kind of the the whole thing about student loans. You hear you'll go and sit in the counselor's office. Okay, I've been there. I'm the counselor too. I have gotten tagged because it's like, wait a minute, uh, you don't want to tell them not to take this loan, because the whole thing about most colleges is that they just want to sell seats. They want to get butts in seats, right? So they'll tell you anything to get you to sign that paper for the debt, as opposed to uh, making sure that they're researching and telling the truth about what that loan is going to do. And of course, uh, we as people that sign, or the parents and everything that sign, we're we do our best to make sure that we understand what's going on, but then there's the complication too. There's distractions about what's legislation coming down the pipe, what is legislation that's already written in stone, what are the deadlines here and there, when is it going to start? I mean, there's just so much, and they try to keep you confused so that all they want you to do is sign the piece of paper. So, when it comes to student loan debt, that's something that you just don't want to get into if you can help it. Now, back in the day, we were encouraged to go to maybe a 2 year and get a 2 year degree, go to a 2 year college, a community college. I'm actually an affiliate of the Johnson County Community College, which is in the greater Kansas City, Missouri area here, and you can get a 2 year degree. I'm an alumni of the Metropolitan Community Colleges. I went to Penn Valley Community College. Now, great opportunity. That was one of my most fun times was hanging out at the Penn Valley Community College. The teachers were great. They were just great, and it was like real world in that they brought the thoughts to the classroom with what it is that I wanted to study. They were just great teachers. So you're still getting a quality education, even though it's in a junior college setting. Now, when you do that, you don't have to deal with a whole lot of debt because you can pay in-state fees, you can pay out-of-state fees, right? You can pay out-of-state fees, and it'll be more expensive if you pay out-of-state fees, but if you're in the state of Missouri and in the district, it's actually the county based on the counties, you can pay in-state fees for your local counties and get a great 2 year degree, and that's a good start. I had offered my kids that let's get the 2 year degree. You just stay home, get the 2 year degree, and we'll go from there. You can just decide to move on after the 2 year degree, and then if you have to take that bite out of the student loan apple, then it's not such a big bite. Right now, granted, here's another thing. You hear about the different colleges that you get an opportunity to go to if you pass the SAT. Now, the SAT is one of the tests, the pre-test that you take for college acceptance. Okay, so this would be you take this test and then you can apply for colleges that offer a more credible degree, right? And here's the point: the degree that you get at some colleges, fly by night colleges or whatever, it's a degree, but it's not really an impressive degree on your resume, right? What they're looking for, they're saying, is that the college degree that you get from a more credible, bigger university setting is more credible when employers take a look at it. Mm. Well, that may be the case for the employers. So if you go to Harvard or Yale, well, what are you going to study at those colleges, right? But if you go to another law school, I think it's just the fact that you went to law school, a good law school, and you graduated. Well, if you're spending all this money for an Ivy League education, for an education, I'm not knocking any of it. Okay, I think an education is fine if that's what you want to do, but do your best not to go into debt for it. Right, is my point. If you're not headed to that sort of upper echelon of quality education, so they say, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from any college as far as the instruction. I think that you get great college education, like I said, from the community colleges, from other smaller colleges and universities. I think it's really about what are you wanting to study, okay? And the help comes in when you get to save. As parents, you get to save for a college fund. So there are tax write-offs and things that you get to apply for a college fund. You get to put away money for colleges. Okay, so you do that. And that becomes the nest egg or the support for the student, your young person that's going to college. And it eliminates the college debt because some people can really put money, hunker down and put money into those college funds. And then what they can put into, they will put into, right? And it's a help. But, to go out and to get into a lot of debt for a degree that, is, where did you get the degree? To me, it's just not, it's overkill. It's a waste of money and you throw it away. And then, like you say, they make promises that it can be written off, which, maybe that's not even the case. Even some of these college debts, I've heard about the write off. If you work in a particular field, they'll write it off. Well, that really needs to be decided at the time of signing the paper. When you're getting that loan that needs to be in effect. And who's giving out the loans? It's not really they're banks, they're institutions that give out the loans. Um, it's just not a good idea to get into the debt. I think that what 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 I find just as effective is that if a person is wanting to get into a field that requires the higher education, then get a good degree with that. Try the 2-year degree program, and then you're not in so much debt when you transfer those credits over. There's a sense of responsibility too. Why throw all of that money away? And then, you're influenced by the different party lifestyles and all of that. You're not really staying focused on getting the education. You're still, enjoying life, so say, and the college lifestyle before you get the loan, before you even get to the point of saying, "Okay, I'm gonna sign my life. I'm saying when you sign that piece of paper to sign for that debt, you're saying that I'm going to pay back this $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 after I get a job." Okay, which we know how the economy is working right now. And then life happens, it's up and down. So, will you even be able to pay back the loan? Mm. And then you default on the loan, then your credit is hit, and you're not able to grow and maybe get the home that you're wanting to get or for your family. There's just a lot to look at. So, as a young person, before you sign anything when it comes to finances on any loan for any school, I don't care what you're doing, a car loan, very school loan. We're talking about school loans. Before you do that, make sure that it is something that you're definitely looking to do and that you are razor focused on the plan that you're working with. You know that this education is going to take you to a place. You can't do it vocationally. You can't uh, get this in a way to where it will uh, you can't get it any other kind of way. You can't teach yourself how to do it. You can't take little small courses or training. That's something that we offer at ASBNC Training and Consulting. You can't do that and practice and continue on perfecting your craft to get your perfection and be able to market yourself in that way. You can't do it that way. Okay. If you can't do it that way, then look into the least expensive way in getting a degree. The least expensive. All right, that's my take on it. And we'll bring back Nathan. We'll get his technical situation going there, get it all of the issues resolved, and we'll get a chance to hang out with Nathan, and he'll bring us that report probably in the next week or so. All right. Now, let's check out what do we have next here? Okay. All right. Now, we have been working with, and I say we, and Nathan is a part of this campaign. He's part of the campaign um, committee, and we've been working with Dr. Gina Ross. She has several endorsements, and she is running for the U.S. Senate for the state of Missouri. And that is exciting. That is super exciting in that we get a chance to support a candidate that is number one. Okay, she's a Christian. Okay, yes, I let the cat out of the bag. Being a Christian is super important, right, to me. But she is an African American female. She's a woman, but she is an American that stands and wants to use her voice to speak for all Missourians, not just the Grand Old Party Network, the GOP, the good old boys, not just those types of individuals that live in the state of Missouri, uh, not just a particular type of individual, but for all Missourians. She has used her voice to speak out uh, and speak for uh, Missourians and young people. That is another Missourian that she is really, really into and wanting to speak for senior citizens. There's her, her, what it is her platform, what she's talking about, and what she is focused on. It's out there on www.rossforussenate.com. So I would encourage you to go out there and just go out and hang out on her website and get to know what Dr. Gina stands for. What is it that she's doing? This campaign committee is posting, is working with the get making sure that everything is done correctly, and we're hitting it off just we're hitting the ground running, right? So you're going to get hiccups like bringing on a research analyst, a great research analyst who's been working with the committee, trying to get him on. That's a hiccup, and we are not able to talk with him today, right? But we're hitting the ground running. She's going to be featured in a number of virtual meetings, virtual presentations. You can see her on Facebook. She posts often on Facebook. She has been part of different forums and platforms. She's spoken already. She's already out there and has been moving and shaking and mixing and making it happen. Okay, so she's out there. Dr. Gina Ross, she's been endorsed by the Black Kansas City Magazine. So you can check out that endorsement at blackkansascitymag.com. And one of the main things that we encourage it to do is donate. Now, believe it or not, a donation. Now we've gone to church and we give our offerings. That's what we call it because we want to support what the work of the ministry does. We want to make sure that the doors of the church are open and that the church is able to be a blessing to the community. All right, great. Well, here when it comes to candidates running for political office, there's an opportunity to donate as well. Now, you don't have to give a whole lot. You can give $10. And right now, when you drive through, you're probably going to get more for the $10 than going through the drive through right now. I went through the drive through to get a burger, and oh my goodness, 10, $12 and try for the family, oh, forget it. I might as well go and and pay the $5 at the grocery store, which that's getting kind of high now, isn't it? And make the burgers at home and keep the 15 bucks in my pocket. But if you take it and donate to your campaign, what that's saying is that you're actually supporting someone who has a voice that they're using, that they're sharing, that also shares interests and concerns that you have, right? Now, as Americans, we're all Americans. We're in this boat together. We are in this boat together, and we're in the state of Missouri. Missourians, go Missouri, huh? And this we're of all ages, all races, both sexes, right? Male and female. Uh, and we're here, right? And as far as needing to have someone that's going to speak and be able to be concerned and focus and research and vote for the concerns in favor of the concerns of Missourians, right? That's an important thing to do, not to vote for the concerns of the person that is being endorsed by an undercover PAC that's being supported by uh, a Fortune 500, 100 company, right? She can't be bought, is the point. And she has a voice that she's sharing for all Missourians. So just to know that, go out there and donate. When you donate to your candidate, you're actually participating. I believe you're participating in the electoral process even at that point, because it does take money to go to the different events, even though they are virtual. It takes money for lots of different things, and we'll talk about we talked about that last time. What do campaigns spend their money on, right? So we can come back to that, but we throw away more money than we try to focus and invest and use, right? We just talked about student loans, right? So you're going to sign for so much money as using a student loan, but then you're not going to study and focus, or it's just not the right time, and you're crashing and burning and you have to retake the class. That's more money, more money, more money, right? Well, if you take the small donations, they no one turns their nose up at small donations. Small donations matter, because small donations become bigger donations that allow for the candidate to continue on in the progress of making sure that their voice is being heard, so that the state is aware that people, you go to the different campaign trails. It's the you have to get around to the different places. You have to let people know that you're here. So she's going to have to get around to the different places, even though we're working virtually, which is great. mm, That's a great thing to do, but you still have to make your rounds. All right. So donate to the campaign for Dr. Gina Ross for US Senate, and get ready. All right, get ready, because it's going to be time to vote here. Mhm. It's going to be time to vote before you know it. It's going to be time to vote. And you want to make sure that you're ready to cast your ballot. You want to make sure that you're ready to cast your ballot so that your voice is being heard and you're ready to participate in the voting process. So get ready to vote. And like I had shared, you don't want to get caught with not knowing where your voting poll is. And part of what this committee is going to do, we're going to make sure that information is going to be out there to encourage you to make announcements so that you know where your voting poll is. Okay. We're going to um, also encourage you to vote. Yeah, so you're going to hear this over and over again. If you are 18, if you're 18 years old, vote, vote. Voting is an American right, and it is a heritage that many people have died to have the right to. There's been a struggle in this country to even have the right to vote. Women did not get the right to vote until 1920 during the suffrage movement. Uh, Women were uh, considered property and didn't have a voice when it came to the politics, which is really how are things going to be divided up? Who's going to get the opportunity? Who's going to get an opportunity to open a business? How successful our business is going to be? What about the tax issue? See, politics, it's really about the money. More money, more money, more money. It's about the money. And if you're 18, believe it or not, you have a voice by taking and voting. That is an opportunity for you to say what you want to do, what you are wanting to do with the money. Gives you an opportunity to put candidate, put people in public office that are using their voice and their vote to speak up for the constituents of a state. And of course, we know about the presidential elections. Those are always big things right there. But it's an opportunity. So if you're 18, don't don't waste the opportunity. Mm. Because you're 18, don't think you're too young. You're not. You're not. That legal age is 18, and you have the right and opportunity legally to use your voice, your vote as a voice to speak up for what you believe in. Yeah. So you have an opportunity to influence how the state of Missouri works. You have an opportunity to influence how the country works, how things are going to go. And that is a very important thing to focus on. So don't think I'm too young. No, you're not. You have the opportunity, you have the right. And we're going to the committee, as far as the Ross for U.S. Senate committee, is going to educate voters, voter education, voter registration. That's another one. So we're talking about making sure you have that address uh, to use to where you vote, and know where your voting poll is within that address. That's another thing. Young people, okay, well, we'll figure it out. We'll come up with some suggestions in how to be helpful when it comes to voting and making sure that you're ready to vote. Okay. So if you're 18, get ready to vote. If you're an older person and you just gave up, you don't think it's going to do any good. mm, don't think that. It will do some good, because number one, you are exercising your right as an American, and you're exercising your right as an American, taking advantage of the opportunity that has come out of the struggle, the civil rights movement, the hindrances from people of color. How the southern states, Jim Crow laws, and laws that kept African Americans and people of color from voting. So those laws have been uh, were squashed, and Now there's some voting rights legislation that's coming into play that I'm sad to hear that Missouri has already taken advantage of. So they're trying to change the laws, and it's just a big mess. But if it wasn't such an important thing to do, then believe me, those that are in position to determine and talk about and to use their voice for political maneuvering, prosperity, opportunity. If it wasn't important, then they wouldn't be fighting over it. There's legislation, judges are getting involved in this. So we're going to do our best to kind of cipher through what's really going on with this voting rights issue and give a presentation on that to kind of help us to where we can go back. One thing about your video and your broadcast, you can go back and listen to it. It's like, okay, it becomes kind of like a learning experience and you can go back and listen to it. So get ready to vote. Get ready to vote. And we're going to do some exciting things and fun things to keep that on your mind. Keep voting on your mind. All right. Now, one thing too. Now, voting, w- those that are in legislation, that making legislative decisions, they get to talk about taxes. They get to talk about a lot of different things. Well, here's another way to support and vote by using your dollars, using your resources, your finances to support and do business with black businesses. Support black businesses. Yeah. Businesses of color. Yeah. Do that because there have been opposition. There's been opposition when it comes to doing business and legislation and all of that. Well, the way to catch up is to support the businesses that have been hindered by legislation, by uh, undercover tax issues, by redlining, right? So here, this is a way for you to support organizations, companies that are still in the fight and believe in having business. Having a business is the American way. There's nothing wrong with work when if you're an employee or you're an employer. There's the entrepreneur, and then there's the one that uses their gifts and talents to support the entrepreneur's vision, right? And it's just good for a stronger America. If we are aware and we use our dollars and our resources as a vote by supporting and going and doing business with African American businesses, black businesses, um, a business that women own businesses. That's another one there, then you get a chance to support Americans. There's more than just one kind of an American here. Yes, there's more than just one kind of an American. European American male. There's more than just the European American male, guys. And we can look at some numbers and we can give statistics all we want and say, oh, well, you're just 14% of the population. You're just 50% of the population. But that's still more than somebody being 100% of the population. So we want to make sure that we support all businesses. And by making a conscious effort to support Black businesses, that gets the opportunity, those businesses to have the opportunity to catch up and then have the opportunity to keep up. Yeah. Now, ASB&C, training and consulting, we have some classes out there, courses out there that may be of interest to you, especially business tools and resources that could be helpful to you as well. So you're needing some training, even if your team needs special customized training, let us know. And we can take a look at that training, give that consultation, and take a look at that training and see what we can do to get you moving in that direction of getting your people trained. Learning management systems. We do specialize in constructing and coming up with solutions for learning management systems and content development. Of course, we do that as well. So, any training manuals that are outdated and they need to be updated, let us know, and we'll be glad to take a look and see what we can do to help you out on that. All right. Okay. So, we got through it. We got through it. Just know that to live on purpose is a good thing. And this year coming up, we're not just going to just go with the flow of life. Let's time out for that. Here's a great opportunity to, as a Missourian, as a greater Kansas City Missourian, as a greater St. Louis Missourian, as a greater Springfield, Southern state Missourian. Here's a great opportunity to support and vote for a candidate that has you in mind. Yeah. So that's kind of living on purpose. Get to know that candidate, Dr. Gina Ross. Uh, Live on purpose. Look at your debt situation before you get into the debt. And see whether or not it's something you can do to make it better to where you're not going in debt to make that dream come true. Anyway, there's more than one way of doing something. Yeah, that's what I say. That's that wrap up. And keep us in mind. Keep us in mind when it comes to getting your training needs met. If there's something that you're needing, specialty training, and go out there and check out asbnc.com. And if there's anything we can do to help you with that, we'll be glad to do it. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out, and we got through it. And I always say, if the Lord says the same, we'll see you next time. Justice now.